Hello, hello, hello. Thank you again for joining me. Welcome to Sunday Afternoons with Reverend Lucretia. This is the talk that is called I Am Who I Am, and the song is from The Greatest Showman. It is called This Is Me, and it is sung by Kayla. So if you would like to listen to the song before you hear the talk, it will be down in the description below. You can just click on the link. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and read the lyrics because they are so incredibly important to the talk that I'm giving. So it says, I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm going to send a flood. I'm going to drown them out. I am brave. I am bruised. I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors. Yeah, that's what we've become. We are warriors. All right. So the name of the talk is I Am Who I Am, and it is all about that. There are no words that need to describe it other than those because those sum it all up perfectly. So we will talk about the magic of allowing ourselves to celebrate our differences, our special qualities, what makes us unique and marvelous in the world. So ask yourself, what makes you special? What is it about you that makes you different from everybody else in the world? What qualities do you have that are so ingrained in your nature that they can never be changed? Reimagine yourself beyond what people see, beyond the image you project to the core of who you really are. What words consistently indicate who you are all the time? Whether the words relate to your physical appearance, or the behavior that you display repeatedly, or the words that you have come to be known for, who you are is based on the choices you make about what is important to you. You will find that your unique qualities have developed over time. Are you creative? Are you outgoing? Are you funny? Are you talented in some special area? Are you different in a way that you have chosen to represent yourself? Or were you born different and you are now able to celebrate that? We are all unique and different and special manifestation of God's love come in a human body. For many people, allowing themselves to celebrate their differences has been a struggle. We are taught to conform much more often than we are taught to be ourselves. We will talk about scriptural references to having courage and about conforming. The song that we says we are brave and we must use that strength to maximize the differences that we have and celebrate our uniqueness. We will talk about New Thought Teacher's commentary on allowing ourselves to be who we are. We will talk about a magnificent hero story related to the song. We will talk about teachings that are related to how to love yourself more. The song says, I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are. You should never be ashamed of your scars. We must love ourselves in the same way that God loves us. The song continues, but I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. We will discuss it is only through our uniqueness that we are able to truly manifest the God qualities that are inside us. We are special. We are not broken. We have no reason to carry shame for any of our differences. We are wonderful manifestations of God's love, and when we celebrate our special qualities, we are exactly who God wants us to be. Here are some of my favorite scriptural references to the word courage. 2 Sam 17:10, then even the bravest soldier whose heart is like the heart of a lion will melt with fear, for all Israel knows your father is a fighter, and that those who are with him are brave. Deuteronomy 31:6, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. And that not leaving and not forsaking you is just all over Scripture. Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So the revealing word says courage is, quote, a spiritual quality that enables one to remain poised and centered in God amidst great difficulties and danger. The realization that the Almighty God of the universe is a spiritual presence which is constantly striving to express in and through us fills us with new courage and fearlessness that is beyond description. And finally, Psalms 31:24, be strong and let your heart take courage. It's always about the heart. So Eric Butterworth gave a talk called The Courage to Be You. In it, he discusses how when we grew up, we may have had trauma. We may have had some abuses of any kind. And for the first time, he talks about dysfunctional families, and that was way ahead of the game. Most people had not even used the word dysfunctional families. He was very early on in that discussion. So he says, the first job is to be yourself. Lean into that wonder self within you. It is the reality of which was the key to survive back in those childhood years when you may have been psychologically or physically abused. The important thing, this wonder self of you was your key to survival back in those years. It is your power to live a happy and successful life today. It's ever with you. It is you. He continues to remind us of Paul's words, be not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. He says there are several different interpretations of that, but he thinks the one that is most accurate says, don't let the world around you force you into a mold. Don't let people seek to conform you to certain things. Let God remold your mind from within. Become moldable, pliable, changeable, but listen within to the inner voice, the voice of your inner self. He gave you the message. He drew the right and wise way, helped you to experience and express the holiness of yourself. Individuality comes from the root word which means that which cannot be divided, indivisible. You are the individual expression of God, a complete manifestation. You have something to give the world that no one else can give in the same way. I rejoice in the attempt of any person to be himself, he says. The statement in John 10:34, is it not written in your law, I said ye all are gods? Doesn't it mean that you are a God expressing himself or herself as you? You are the creative energy of the universe, unfolding itself uniquely as you. Creative energy of the universe, that's you. In the description for Alicia Keys' new book, More Myself, we read, away from the spotlight, Alicia has grappled with private heartache over the challenging and complex relationship with her father, the people-pleasing nature that characterized her early career, the loss of privacy surrounding her romantic relationships, and the oppressive expectations of female perfectionism. In More Myself, Alicia shares her quest for truth about herself, her past, and her shift from sacrificing her spirit to celebrating her worth. With the raw honesty that epitomizes Alicia's artistry, More Myself is at once a riveting account and a clarion call to readers to define themselves in a world that rarely encourages a true and unique identity. In an interview with Alicia Keys, I found some points that I thought would be really helpful for us to discuss today regarding loving yourself more and being full of acceptance. She says your priorities are give yourself love, be honest with yourself, take time for yourself and give yourself freedom to choose whatever you want. She talks about a time when she went away on a trip overseas. It was the first trip that she had ever done on her own. And she said she experienced for the first time what it was like to be able to get up whenever she wanted, go to sleep whenever she wanted, eat whenever she wanted, go wherever she wanted, and that it was immensely liberating for her to not have to worry about pleasing somebody else and about always asking, what do you want to do? That for the first time she actually explored herself and what it was that would make her happy. She says that you need to explore who you are, that other people's definition of you don't matter. She says to try a variety of different expressions of yourself to find out which one of them feels the most authentic. Alicia studies New Thought teachers quite a bit, and she says, as we always talking about, that it is very, very careful to watch out about your words. She says to never use the word if. She always takes the word if out of her vocabulary and instead uses the word when. So instead of saying, I will be happy if, she says, I will be happy when. And that also talks about setting an intention. And she has learned all of that from the New Thought teachers as well. She talks about encouraging to trust yourself. Always thinking that someone else knows the best answers for you is never the truth. She talks about being assertive and not apologizing and for saying what you really mean. She encourages us to express yourself and explore the different sides of yourself, including both the masculine and the feminine side. She says, understand who you are. Don't be concerned about others' definition of you. Don't talk yourself out of what you know is real. She says, do what is beautiful to you, and that deprogramming has to happen so that you can fully be who you are. Don't hold back, and don't let anybody else tell you not to be yourself. So Brené Brown, I always love going back to Brené Brown. So I studied a few of her talks to come up with some tips about self-love, and I came up with some tools that she can give us about how to do that better. And some of her key points are, acknowledge you are enough. Constantly be living in a state of gratitude and joy. She says the only way to get out of the scarcity mentality is to get a mentality of enoughness. Share your whole story with your whole heart. Don't hold back because you're afraid of what people will think. Engage with the world from a place of worthiness. Brené's focus and her 25 years of research has always centered on vulnerability. She says it is the birthplace of love, and vulnerability opens you up to all of the positive aspects that you want to come into your life. Brené discusses the need to let go of your armor. She said all of us grew up and experienced some degree of trauma and disappointment and hell and hard stuff, and she asks, how is not talking about this serving you? She says your armor is not protecting you, it is keeping you from being seen and known by others. The armor is keeping you from growing into the gifts that are there for you. I thought it was interesting that both of those very big New Thought leaders talk about armor. She reminds us to talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you loved, and that when you are loving yourself more, you should reach out more to people that you trust. When we think about loving ourselves more, we are reminded of what we learned about perfectionism. Last week we had a whole talk about perfectionism. And Brené says, when perfectionism is driving, shame is riding shotgun, and fear is the annoying backseat driver. Make sure that passion is driving you versus concern of what other people will think. Brené also highlights in all of her work the need to be authentic. She says that she used to think that there were people who were fake and phony and put on masks, and there were people that were genuine and real and authentic. But she now understands that being authentic is a process. It's a day-to-day decision, and that in every single interaction you have with people, you need to be deciding to be authentic. She says you need to be sure you're letting your guard down and ask yourselves, what am I really feeling and thinking, and am I being true to who I really am? Authenticity is not something that one is or one isn't. It is something that you choose to be through your actions and words on a daily basis. And by the way, I will add that it doesn't come naturally. It takes quite a bit of work. So now I'm going to talk about the incredible story of Kayla Settle. So Kayla was in the New York theater world for over 25 years. She was in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Hands on a Hard Body, Les Mis, Hairspray. She also did a lot of backup singing, including for Gladys Knight and the Pips. She portrayed Letty Lutz as the bearded lady in the musical The Greatest Showman, and she is the one who made famous the song This Is Me. So Kayla is overweight, and she's always chosen to remain in the background. She actually makes jokes about the fact that she's always hiding, and she said everybody's always looking for her because she's hiding, because she says, evidently that's just what I do all the time. She says, this part that she had in the movie was never meant to happen. I was successfully hiding from the world in New York City for 25 years. She took the project that was meant to show investors what the movie was all about just as a way to pay her rent. So they do these things called projects where they hire people to run through the script and sing all the songs, and they may not necessarily be in the actual movie, but they're just there to do the show so that they can get all the financing. So she said she took this on as a project just to pay her rent. The last two songs for the film, including This Is Me, were not even written yet when she accepted the project. When it came time for her to sing the song about this that made her world famous, when she was asked to sing it, she said, absolutely not. She said, I will sing soprano, I will sing alto, I will sing backup, I will do anything you want me to do, but there's no way you're getting me to sing that song. And they said, what will it take for you to sing that song? And she said, a bottle of Jameson. And she was just kidding. Well, they got her the bottle of Jameson, and it sat on the floor, closed the whole time, and they had a very successful reading through of the script and the songs. And I will tell you, when you search online, you can see the authentic version that is put out that shows the movie with this song in it, but you can also see the rehearsal scenes, and the rehearsal scenes, particularly this episode where they were trying to get the financing, was just so emotional. She was crying and she was shaking and she was coming outside of herself in a first way where she was letting herself be seen, and it was just incredible. I actually like the rehearsal version better than the authentic one. So she had that bottle of Jameson on the floor, and she said very shortly after finishing this scene project, they got all the financing. It was what they call greenlit, and she shared the bottle with everyone there. So in an interview before the award ceremony, they actually had awards given out for the best musical song, the original song, and she said, I didn't want to sing this song. In the interview she said this, it was hitting too close to home. To which the interviewer responded, but you're so hugely talented. And Kayla said, I don't recognize that. I've never recognized that. So she sang the song, they got all the financing, and she decided that she would agree to be in the film. She said, the only reason I was in the film was because of Hugh. He continued to believe in me when I refused to. I fought so hard to not believe in myself. He said, stuff that, come on, let's go. The producer said Kayla didn't even want to come out from behind the music stand when she was doing this audition piece. And they said, but you're the bearded lady, you have to come out and belt out this song. She said, I didn't want to. There was a moment in the song I was so scared I had to grab Hugh's hand to have someone to hold on to. And then I got through it, and all I remember was deafening applause. It was otherworldly. And you can see that in the rehearsal version of it, where she's shaking so bad and she holds his hand. And by the way, he's just a compassionate, loving person. She talks about that quite a bit. Hugh Jackman says, the song does empower people to just be themselves. It is a reminder of how different each of us really are, and we were really meant to be. The things that make you different, they are the things that you should celebrate. This Is Me is all about celebrating what you have to offer. Hugh told Kayla, you will never make a difference by being like everyone else. At one point, Kayla walked onto the set, and it was the first time she saw the circus ring. She said she was overwhelmed and it was electrifying. She went to hide, and Hugh saw her walking away, and he went and grabbed her, and he said, no, you don't get to hide anymore. And she said, why not? I was doing so great hiding. But he took my hand and walked me through every day, including this day as well. She described Hugh as an incredible man, always looking out for me, always. He put 9 years into the film. I started to be involved for the first presentation that was 3 years before the film came out. He said, I want you to come with me because I know you can. This is a reminder that love always lifts up, always provides courage and strength to those who are scared. She said, I learned so much about myself, the good things and the not so good. I learned that that's the beauty of it, that I can choose to always be learning. I have this skin. It's sort of like the Game of Thrones armor to get through every week and make it what it is. I had to take that armor off. She said, I learned about loving yourself and finding family, loving who you are, everything we need and want. So there's the third reference to armor. Kayla is an amazing woman with brilliant reminders of how someone who wanted to stay in the background, who was unbelievably talented, managed to come out and is now renowned throughout the world for her gifts and abilities, and how it took courage and strength and the love of someone else to remind her that being her unique and best self was the greatest gift she could give. By the way, since all this happened, Kayla has dropped her first EP, and it was written for Suicide Week, and it was called Harder. You can Google that and see. So she's used this whole experience to express to other people how painful it is to come out of yourself. Especially, like I said, if you see the videos, you'll see she's extremely overweight. But she was really shy and always in the background until she used this experience to expand who she was into being her best and highest self. So I'm going to close with some words by Carolyn McHugh, who gave a talk called The Art of Being Yourself. She says the personality has three parts: the superiority part, the inferiority part, and she says there's a part called interiority. She says interiority is about being your best self. It's about being uncomparative, where there is no comparison between you and anybody else, and there is no competition. She works with leading artists and musicians, teachers, and coaches throughout the world, and she worked with Jill Scott. So Jill Scott did an interview, and she was asked if she was nervous to go on stage right after Erykah Badu, and Jill Scott said, "We all have our own thing that's the magic. Everyone comes with their own sense of strength and their own queendom. Mine can never be compared to hers, and hers can never compare to mine." Carolyn McHugh says it is incredibly liberating, untragic way to go through life. When it comes to being yourself, needing other people's approval is one of the most debilitating things you'll ever do. With every passing year, it is your job to be better and better at being who you are. Develop an inner state of mind impervious to all the good shit and the bad shit that happens to you. So, as a kid, I didn't fit in. I was skipped twice, which means the people in my class were 2 years older than me, so you can understand a 14-year-old wouldn't really want to hang out with a 12-year-old. On top of that, I was extremely short. I'm still short, but I was really short back then. I had really bad skin, and I had braces. I was never going to be part of the in crowd. That was just never going to happen. I was sent to a private school, and I was the only Christian girl there. There was one Christian boy. It was made out of Jewish, it was comprised of Jewish people, and the people were really pretty well off. So on all the spring breaks and winter breaks, they go away to Aspen to go skiing, or they'd go to Bermuda or whatever, and that just wasn't part of my experience at all. So they had lots of money, and they went to exotic places, and so I'm sure that the experiences that I had not fitting me in molded me into being the person that I am now. I've learned to be independent and have a very small circle of really well trusted friends. And I learned to be very close to God during all those years. I was a musician, so I practiced many hours every day, and I lived in my own little bubble, and I was comfortable there. But I understand what it feels like to be on the outside looking in, and I can relate to feeling different. I've learned many lessons about seeking other people's approval, and I can tell you at this point in my life, it doesn't interest me at all. I'm from the Upper West Side. I am a musician, and I'm also a painter. And as you see, I'm really into color. I've got the blue in my hair. I've got all of the color behind me. I've got the color on me. And what I've come to understand is that the people who don't approve of me or don't like me because of my hair or because of my clothes or because of how I present myself, they don't change who I am at all. Who I am is inside me. I've made a choice about how I present myself to the world based on the fact that I love color. Some of my friends in New Jersey call me Sparks because I'm almost always wearing something sparkly. And the reality is that reflects light and that reflects color, and it's just part of who I am. And I've come to understand who I am who I am. And I'm not going to change that. I've been in some circumstances where people have asked me to tone it down a little bit. That toning it down is not going to happen. It's just not who I am. It's just not. And I've come to understand that as I was talking about, this whole talk is about accepting who you are for who you are. Make a decision. Understand, if you wear blue hair, people are going to look at you. Some people are going to be okay with it, some people are not. But if it's important for you to express yourself that way, you do it. And don't change. Don't change who you are. Let yourself blossom into the biggest and best and boldest person you can possibly be. So, I'm going to understand that I have come to love myself and accept myself, and I'm deeply grateful. I've learned the lesson about needing approval of only God, and God always approves of me. God always, always wants me to be my biggest and bold and bravest self. We are all glorious, whole, and complete. So have you figured out what makes you unique? Do you understand what your incredibly special qualities are? Do you understand how valuable to the world you are exactly as you are? And the decisions that you have made about how you relate to people and what actions you take during the day, how you present yourself to the world, they are all your own personal, individual manifestation of God's love. Now is the time to put away any fears you had. Now is the time to come out into the sunshine as the perfect and complete, special, unique person that you are. As the song says, look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching out to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. And so it is. Thank you so very much. If you liked any of this material, please hit the subscribe button below, and please hit the like button so that you can be notified every time I come out with new material. Bless you so much. Take care now. Bye-bye.